Thank you. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. We're going to do another round here. Fully support the deployment of the National Guard to the border. We've representing a border community myself. It's just taking too long to get the political will for Washington, D.C. To be able to meet the president's intent to secure our border. So I fully support it. Can you talk about the status of the deployment, what the National Guard troops are doing, and should we see additional National Guardsmen and women deployed as well for the mission?
CBP, we very much appreciate the opportunity to work with the Guard again. As noted, we did it in 2006, we did it in 2010, and had ongoing air surveillance support through 2016. So to have them back in significant numbers is going to be a huge augmentation to our capabilities. We've got 600 already on the ground with us, doing missions like surveillance, operational support, everything from helping us on the radio side to intelligence analysts to the motor pool, and then infrastructure. Now, we've got to maintain all of these roads, these access roads to the border. They have capable units that are dedicated to these areas. So they're going to extend our capability in a number of different areas, to your point, Chairwoman, to enhance our ability to secure that border as we continue to invest in the resources necessary and the personnel to do so.
Great. So how many are deployed right now?
607 as of this morning.
And is there any plan to deploy more?
There is, of course. We have a set of missions that we've sent through the National Guard Bureau at Maine Department of Defense, chopped out to the states. The adjutants general are then the responding entities under the command of the governors under Title 32, including Governor Ducey, who's been very supportive. And then we're going to be applying those assets through our sector command leadership to the specific missions we need. We're also hoping to have support for our cargo and our counter-narcotics missions at ports of entry and for aviation surveillance as well in the coming weeks.
Great, thanks. So this frees up the Border Patrol agents to be able to be patrolling the border and intercepting the illegal activity while you have the Guardsmen doing many times within their core competencies in the military, right, to provide some of those support functions. But also concerned about the Border Patrol agents that we have really being focused on the border. There were some media reports on one station in particular, I think had 700 agents assigned, and on one snapshot had only about 12% available out patrolling the border. I always use my military analogies, right? I commanded a fighter squadron. We had a small number of fighter pilots, and then we had other people that were trained in all the other support functions. But if you want us to be doing all those support functions, we probably won't do a good job, number one. But we're the ones trained to be the fighter pilot. So when you've got Border Patrol agents, highly trained law enforcement officers that are doing things like fleet management and other admin, really other people should be trained to do in other positions. What is the issue there? Because 12% is not adequate. We need to make sure that these highly trained agents are out there patrolling the border. And what else can we do to partner with you to free them up to do that job while having less trained people or more specified trained people doing these other support functions, what we call in the military sometimes, some of the admin things and the paperwork. Well, I won't tell you what we call it, but anyway, we're on the record here. But, it's really an important part of the mission, but you don't want the agents doing all of that because it takes them away from the main mission.
I could not agree more with you, Chairwoman, that we want our highly trained professionals out on the border doing their core law enforcement work and patrolling. One of the areas that you highlighted, not just the mission support side, but also processing. This goes back to the loopholes. Right. The time it takes to properly process and care for family units and kids is much more extensive than other groups. And the station that you cited is in Rio Grande Valley sector where we see the most crossings of this type. During that time, we had about 60% of our agents doing patrol work sector-wide. So we understand the scrutiny. We want to make sure those agents are out on the line. That's where we need them. But that processing issue, supporting them with remote processing, closing the loopholes, and then looking at maybe a more balanced workforce investment. I know it's very important to invest in our very highly trained law enforcement professionals, but we need to support them with a variety of occupations that might be able to hire more quickly to really free them up to do their work. As you noted, we're gonna realize a number of agents back to the border from having the National Guard support us in operational and mission support functions. I think we can do the same on a sustained basis with a more balanced staffing profile.
Because you don't need to be an agent to do the processing, right? That could be a GS-7 who's doing that, who's trained specifically for that, or do you have to be an agent?
That's an immigration officer function.
Okay.
But we are doing things like remote processing for stations that are not as busy in other sectors. They're doing the interviews and processing via VTC, via Skype, if you will. That's been helpful because we're trying to alleviate those high traffic sectors so they can get out on the border doing their mission.
Okay, thanks. I'm out of time. So, gentleman from